So this topic is brought to you by MenuRx. Go to menurx.com for more information. Instead of guessing what might work when it comes to losing weight, MenuRx takes a personalized, science-backed approach to nutrition that's built entirely around you. Depending on your insurance, it may be covered. You can use HSA and FSA, so you might have to use nothing out of pocket. Do you find it hard to stick with meal plans? If you're like me, I'm sure you do, because a lot of those meal plans feel rigid or out of touch, or they're set for just everybody. Well, you also, with MenuRx, they will make an individual meal plan for you, not for the general group. You also get lifelong access to tools in the MenuRx client portal and a dedicated MenuRx dietitian to support your success and long-term sustainability. I've been working with Dr. Jake May for a few months now. The guy's great. He's, obviously I have to do most of the work, but to have somebody in your corner that supports you, and even when you're struggling and even when you're not losing weight, they're there for you to make sure things don't go even worse than they could. So whether you're chasing peak performance, building your dream body, or seeking optimal longevity, MenuRx will help reach your goals. Go to menu-rx.com, as you see on the screen, and get your consultation today. I always advise people, if you screw up a word when you're doing a commercial or something, never repeat it, because it brings attention to you screwing up the word. And then I just did it. I went against my own rule.
I forgive you, Bill.
When I screwed up that word.
We started with the Cavs. We're going to end with the Cavs here. We got that 2-hour live draft show tonight. Make sure you tune in at 8 o'clock tonight. But to give you some context for what I'm about to let you guys listen to, this is how good the Heat were statistically on offense last night. 112 points. They made 16 threes, and they shot better than 50% from the floor while allowing their opponent, the Cavaliers, to shoot less than 50%. NBA teams all-time were 76-0 in the playoffs with those numbers. Wow. The Heat all-time were 45-1 with those numbers in the history of the franchise. I'll give you those numbers again. 112 points, 16 made threes. The team shoots better than 50% while holding the opponent to less than 50% shooting.
Now, it's a little
in the
misleading
history of the
because
playoffs.
the Cavs shot like 49.6%.
Granted, I'm just giving you the context to set up this next up. NBA teams with those numbers before last night were 76-0 all-time in the playoffs. The Cavs obviously won last night. They found a way to outscore the Miami Heat. And in the locker room after the game, Darius Garland was asked about the team's offensive strategy to how to attack Miami. And this is what Darius said to that very question.
Since they got guys at the trade deadline, Miami's been really good at turning teams over, but the first two games you guys have really held on to it. Just what's the key to playing clean basketball like that against a team like that?
Pick on Tyler Herro and take care of the ball. Don't play in tight spaces. And pick on their weak defenders. Go at them.
Jason, shots fired.
Yeah, I would say. I was a little surprised. I didn't hear that. I think I was talking to somebody else when he said that, so I didn't see that until after the fact.
Bad job out of you.
Can only be in one place at a time.
Take McNuggets around with you. It's like
he was there. Were you there for that, or
no? I was in the podium because they brought guys into the podium, so I went to go talk to Donovan.
So Mike was at the podium. I was talking to Donovan in the corner, and when Darius said that, so I didn't hear that live.
Wonder what Kenny thinks of that comment.
Probably didn't love it. It's a little. I'm not gonna. I just said about Denzel. I love guys who are honest. Obviously, we want him to be honest.
Yeah, right.
So I'm never going to kill a guy for being honest.
No.
But, I mean, Darius, there are a lot of guys, I think, in the league who don't like Tyler Herro. So this was just another little knife twist.
And I think also, Mike, real quick, that people kind of pick on Darius defensively. And maybe he's kind of like sick of that, and he wanted to pick on someone else in that same way.
Well, it was probably a little unnecessary.
Well, hold on, Jason. Before it was unnecessary, there's some numbers that back up what he's saying.
Okay, but you don't need to say it.
We're not
Well,
saying.
you shouldn't say it. But look at some of these numbers real quick because the numbers are kind of staggering. Games 1 and 2. So 2 games, 96 minutes. The Cavs have put Herro in 50 possessions where he's the screener defender in a pick-and-roll situation. So they put him in 50 pick-and-rolls. That's more than double his regular season average. He was averaging about 12.2 pick-and-roll defending the pick and roll 12.2 times per game. They're averaging 25 per game in games 1 and 2, and the Cavs are averaging 1.2 points per possession on those plays, which anything over 1 is good. Anything over 1.1 is very good. In the 1.2 range is
insane.
excellent.
Yeah.
Some of the individual numbers, Donovan's 5 for 7 against Herro in this series, according to NBA tracking data. Garland is 6 for 10, and Ty Jerome is 5 for 6 in these situations against Tyler Herro. He did say it, and maybe he shouldn't have said it, but the numbers back it up, and they have
I'm not saying he's
Nobody
wrong.
was debating whether
I'm
he
not
was
saying
right
he's
or wrong.
He's not wrong. My point is, he's not wrong at all.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think anybody was arguing that he was wrong. We were arguing, should he have said it?
I just wanted to give you guys the numbers for a little context.
I hear you.
I ain't got no problem with it at all. I think it's kind of it made me laugh when I seen it. And all I'm gonna tell you is, all I would say is that just know that when you get to Boston, that's their game plan for y'all. So he obviously know what it looks like because he does. It happens to him all the time.
Boston puts Darius in pick and rolls.
My point exactly. So
And if he's going to talk the talk, he's got to walk.
You better
the walk.
make sure. So now that you put this statement out there, when you get to Boston, you better make sure that you ain't the guy that they picking on because they definitely gonna try it.
Yeah, and obviously Tyler Herro, who's played well in this series, is going to come out there with a chip on his shoulder. I don't know if, who knows if he's capable of playing.
I don't know if it matters.
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter. The Heat are easy pickings because the Cavs know they're going to win this series. And ultimately, I don't care that Darius said it. I was just a little surprised. I didn't expect him to kind of publicly trash talk a player.
You think Miami gets one at home?
I don't, but it's just
I do.
Yes,
I think they
Game
get
3?
Yeah. I would. Yeah. No, 4.
It could either one.
I'll say 4.
Either one.
I kind of love the fact Darius said it, if we're being honest.
You don't love it?
No, I love it. I actually, the bravado, the confidence to just go out there and be as honest, blatantly honest, maybe to a fault. It shows to me that they're not looking ahead. They're not overlooking the next
They don't
games
fear them at all. I'll tell you that.
It shows that they know, as we've said, they should know that this should not be a series. And to say that in Game 2, after a game that was close, came down to the wire, to publicly go out there and say, yeah, our game plan's pretty simple. We're attacking Tyler Herro. Why? Because that dude can't guard me. We've talked about Darius in the postseason last year, not lacking confidence, right? We crushed him for lacking. He's not trusting his shot. He's not getting to his spots. He had the season from hell last year. All of it was valid. He's out here at the complete opposite this season.
Yeah. 2
relatively good performances. He was great in Game 1. He was solid last night. And the confidence is back. He's playing with confidence. He's a better player.
I don't know that talk proves confidence. We'll see how he plays. This series, let's be honest, this series is meaningless.
Oh, I disagree.
It's meaningless in turn.
The Bulls would have been meaningless.
Why?
Because they would have smacked them in 4 games. I wrote about this the other day. We talked about it Monday, when I was in on Monday. I was talking to Tristan about this, and Tristan compared this series to Detroit in 2016, where he said it's a sweep. We swept them, but it was a hard sweep.
Right.
And it prepared them for what lied ahead. And I absolutely think Miami is doing that.
Let me clarify what I meant by it's meaningless. When I say that, it means if they lose to Indiana, then there's no accomplishment here by beating Miami.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
But it doesn't matter. That's true regardless. They got to make the conference finals.
I'm just saying
at a minimum.
We talked all year the Cavs can't prove anything till the playoffs, but they really can't prove anything till they get to the conference final. Maybe you want to say, okay, if they get to the conference final, they proved something. But I still think
what was the Orlando series last year?
They were up 2-0.
They won in 7.
It went 7
yes,
games.
They were up 2-0. Everybody
it's
thought
not
it was
meaningless
over.
then.
Everybody thought it was over. They went down to Orlando. They played like crap.
Yeah, because they had to win. They won every game in Cleveland, but never won a game in
They were down
Orlando.
18 in the first half of Game 7 at home.
My only point is,
came back to win.
If Darius plays great against Miami and we're lauding him and going crazy, and then he doesn't play well against Indiana and they somehow lose that series,
yeah, of course,
we won't be thinking anything positive about Darius at the end.
I'm gonna still wear my
jersey. I'm not saying that's going to happen, nor do I think it's going to happen. This team's got a lot to prove. I'm fine with him talking trash. I don't have a problem with it, but as long as he backs it up.
Jason, why you?
Because if he doesn't, it's going to get thrown back in his face.
Why you don't wear jerseys?
Wait, let Jason respond to what Bull said first before we pivot into the jersey discussion. We can finish the show.
Go ahead. What did I say?
No. I wanted to
controversial.
No, but I just want Jason to give his 2 cents on it.
Yeah.
On
Or
which
give
part?
an opportunity to give 2 cents.
On which part?
On which part, Mike?
The meaningless stuff?
Yeah.
Or the... Yeah, I mean, we're going to judge these guys by making the conference finals and how they do against Boston.
That's it.
That's how they'll be ultimately ruled a success or a failure.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But you don't just roll into the conference finals. There's steps to get there. There's
Right.
progressions to get there. And I think Miami is a much better prep for them than Chicago or Atlanta, or I don't even remember what the other team was
Orlando
now.
would have been a tough.
Orlando would have been
Yeah.
tough. Orlando would have been
Right,
tough.
I get what you're saying, and yes, they rested a lot at the end of the year. To some degree, you're knocking off a little rust here in the first round,
Yeah.
and you got to build up and play better each series. But ultimately, they'll be judged by what they do against Boston.
I do think it's a good, how many times do we have the conversation in the end of March, they're not making threes, is it time to panic?
Yeah.
Mike and I both said no,
Right.
and here they come.
Yeah.
Now they're shooting it like they were during their long winning streaks. They made more threes last night in the second quarter,
Yeah.
than they made in 5 of the 7 games last year against Orlando. It's incredible how far they've come. Go back to the New York series when they couldn't get to 100 points. And we kept saying, they have no shooting, guys.
Right.
Like, what do you want them to do? There's nobody. They can't space the floor.
Yeah.
They have nobody who can make shots. That was just 2 years ago. And as far as they've come, both in roster construction and obviously in Kenny's overhaul of the offense, Evan's growth, Darius return to the type of player that we knew he could be, Sam, Ty, the development of those guys, they are now in a position to where they can pace and space with anybody in the league.
Who you think is a better team, Memphis or the Heat?
Miami.
You think Miami's better than
Yeah.
Memphis?
Memphis is more talented. Miami's a much better team.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Memphis is.
Do you think Memphis get one against OKC?
No.
No.
But you think Miami could get one
Yeah.
on the Cavs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh.
I mean, I thought this would go 5, and there was a chance it would go 6. It's not going 6.
I thought this
But
one
I
was
do
going
think
5.
I do think it'll go
Yeah.
5. I think Miami will get one down there.
Damn, y'all don't think Miami could get one? I mean, not Memphis could get one. It's at home.
Memphis is
They at home for the next 2 games.
no, they're not. That's going to be a sweep. And
Memphis fired their coach. Thought it would get better. It did not get better.
no.
Like, what do you expect?
One game.
They're
You
playing
can't
the
get
best team
swept,
in the
man.
NBA.
OKC is legit.
Will the Bucks get swept?
No, they won't get swept.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
I just wanted to ask you guys this last thing on the Cavs, and we'll pivot to these super chats to end the show. But did you guys notice? And Jason, I didn't notice it live. The snow they dropped from the rafters last night.
I only saw somebody tweeted it last night.
Yeah, I seen somebody
Yeah,
tweet
the
that
only
too.
thing they did it in the second quarter.
Yeah.
They've been on this Cavalanche.
Avalanche, yeah.
It's funny. It's like Dan loves stuff like this. So
Oh, yeah, he's a cheese ball.
I thought second quarter is maybe a little bit early. Like, don't you want to have the game in hand?
They was hitting threes though.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Like, you want
why,
to time it
yeah.
up with when the Cavalanche occurs. I get it. But if you lose that game,